Thank you very much, Judith. So I really want to start a discussion with a very important question: customer success. That's all. It's all about it, right? So Salesforce is a customer company, and that is a top priority for us. So I really want to hear from each one of you. What does customer success mean to you and your organization? It's really important to hear from you guys because, like as I said, Mark, you're from Tier 1 CRM, like a AppExchange partner. Kara, you run Marketing Cloud. You are part of Marketing Cloud business. And Jutta, you run customer success for such a large organization. And you work with a lot of like boutique consulting firms who are just starting up in the ecosystem, who are just growing. So it'll be really interesting to know your aspect of what customer success means to you.
Well, customer success is really has to be or is an intrinsic part of our culture. It's true empathy for who your customers are. It's understanding what they do every day. If you go onto a trading floor and you understand what somebody is doing and why they are doing it with your software, then you have a much better idea and a much more empathetic view in terms of why you care. It creates a sense of care and empathy. So what we try to do actually is to get our customer success team to visit our customers and actually get to know them personally, to get to know and personally connect with the people who we are delivering our customer success for, not just the people who work on the floors or end users, but also their success organization who we're more likely going to be interfacing with. It's really, from our perspective and from my mantra for my entire career, one thing I constantly say, people who know me have heard me say this, ad nauseum, is business is personal. And so what we try to do is provide proactive customer success, which means far beyond resolving issues. It's preventing issues from happening in the first place. It's about looking out for them. So we actually keep track of, for example, of Salesforce's dashboard of availability, and we actually proactively discuss that with customers if there might be a potential performance problem, for example. We really watch out for their best interests. And it's interwoven and intrinsically linked with an adoption program. And we use all of Salesforce's technology for that. So for example, we're using Einstein Analytics to pull adoption down to like what features are they using and why not. So we have a very involved customer success program at Tier 1 with a team that is specialized from a technology and business perspective. So in short, we take that business as personal very seriously. And my office is actually right off of where our customer success team lives and works, and it's my trading floor. Like I come in the morning and I kind of can sense the mood. And if there's a little bit of tension in the room, I actually say every morning, "How we doing, guys? What's going on?" I bet you that's exactly what you're doing too. I think there's a lot of similarities actually with people here, just in terms of the level of importance to deliver customer success in a very mission-critical way to our customers.
Right.
Yeah. So our commitment to our clients and our client partners is to be their highest performing and most trusted partner, and that's our statement that we tell them when we're talking to them and they're considering selecting us, and that's our commitment all the way through on a day-to-day basis. And for our accounts that have account services assigned to them, the account directors will call them every week. I mean, they're talking to them every day anyway, but they'll call them every week and say, rate us on a scale of 1 to 10 this week. How did we do? And anything less than a 10 is really unacceptable, but it's pretty rare sometimes to get a 10 because clients are tough. They have pretty high demands and they want everything when they want it. So that's kind of, it's really just client satisfaction to me is what customer success really means. And us, we're responsible for helping them make their customers successful. So it just trickles down the line all the way down to the end user.
Thank you.
So I think for me personally, I think all of us are in the business of delivering some value to our customers. And our customers, when they buy our product, our services, effectively we are making a promise of some value to be delivered, right? I feel like the real essence of customer success is to make sure whatever we promised, we have actually delivered. And I think from a business perspective, and this is more of a philosophy thing, I feel a lot of times when we think about or talk about customer success, we talk about a lot of like operational details, and they're very important. But at the net from a business perspective, customer success is really about driving long-term customer lifetime value through different types of operations. I mean, if I'm talking, let's say, to an e-commerce retailer, it may be because their refund process or the returns process is not the best. They need to work on that. Or if it's like a SaaS business, it's because they really want to focus on renewals and upsells, and that's what's important. But at the essence of it, it's about how do you think about driving long-term customer value, customer lifetime value, and really looking at the operations and the details behind it.
Amazing. What do you think, Kiran? Because you really like, because we do have a lot of partners here who are just starting up in the ecosystem, so it'd be interesting to know what you think.
So when we as a company work with our clients to set up the customer success program, we're thinking about introducing processes that would maximize the customer value. But the way that we think about value, because most people would think value is how much money are we getting from the client, or the customer is paying us X, so let's show them that they got more than that, right, in terms of outcomes. But in customer success, we actually would like to look at value in two different ways: monetized and non-monetized value. So the non-monetized value, you want to maximize it for the customer experience. And there's a new index that's coming up. It's called CES, which is how easy is it to work with you. And you should do that for every single one of your departments, not just the customer success operations. And then, of course, there's the satisfaction. And then on top of that is the value for it that's related to the business outcomes. I saw one of the sessions in the expo that was talking about the fact that we might have 10 different outcomes that a client might be able to extract from our solution, but they are really interested in maybe 3 or 5 of them. It's very important to, first of all, open the buffet and show them that there's 10, but really listen in to what of those 10 is really important for that client at that moment, and then do your best and show them what is the roadmap or the blueprint of things that they need to do and they're responsible of, and that we can do with our technology and services to help them achieve that. So for me, customer success is turning the entire business around to be customer focused, customer centric. Does that resonate?
Yeah, customer is the center of everything.
The center of everything.
Yeah.
And not just different departments and how they serve the customer, but how do we interact with other departments within our organization to help them be customer focused.
Great, thank you. Like when we hear about this aspect of customer success, I want to move to our next question, right? Especially for our partners, like, where did you start? Like, when did you start thinking about customer success? At what point in your business did you really think, okay, so that's where we should focus on?
Well, when we started the business, we originally did a lot of consulting work, and it's different in terms of how you're delivering customer success as a system integrator or a consulting partner. The mission of the company was to create a product company right from the beginning. So I found my most empathetic senior leader and somebody who actually had gone through actual implementations with customers and identified leadership. And that person, I put him in charge of the program to start it from the beginning. And because we run our entire business on Salesforce, and our customers do too, we followed the patterns that Salesforce was, how Salesforce was delivering customer success ourselves. So obviously we're using Salesforce technology for case management and so forth, but also processes, language, contract terms, everything. And we started to mirror what Salesforce was doing. And as Salesforce continued to evolve, and as we continued to evolve, we started to get a lot more mature in terms of how we were much more proactive. And Salesforce has The customer success program, I think, is customers for life at one point. I'm not sure if you still have that branding, but that's the way we look at them too. And so we have like a 2-tier program at Tier 1, for example, where we have our technical support people that manage the relationship of delivering and solving problems and installing, helping our customers to install upgrades. But we also map to the top of the house and deliver relationships and build relationships with the senior executives who might necessarily not use our software every day. Maybe they use the analytics tool, but they're not on the training floor. They're actually managing the training floor. And so you have that relationship at the top level as well as where the people who can actually impact change. And together, what we're looking for is what I call customer happiness. Like, you can measure adoption, and people have to use software because they have to use software to do their job. But are they truly happy using your software? So we try to actually capture the emotional equation in terms of how we measure and how we're actually delivering success. But basically it is a very sophisticated process that involves our engineering team, our point of capture, our engineering team. I was talking to Sega, and I cannot say enough about the Premier Partner Success. Big shout out. I think it's a brilliant program that Salesforce has. And we have a true partnership. He understands our customers. He joins us on calls. When we need something escalated, he helps us. And so there's no line between, for example, our engineering team, and our CTO is in the room, who helps us when we need to escalate to engineering. If we have to escalate to Salesforce engineering too for certain things and get answers to things, it's a completely seamless team process that we use.
Gosh, where do you start? That's a good question. Well, so I will say, maybe from our perspective on this, in the Marketing Cloud, there could be 5 or more different ways to do the same thing. So actually part of what customer success means for us is when we're onboarding a new client or setting up a new program for them, it's really what's the way to set it up for them that makes the most sense for their business and for how they want to use the tool. So we often have clients come to us and they'll say, maybe they've worked with another partner or something, or they did the implementation themselves, and they say, my platform isn't set up correctly, I can't use it the right way. And it's not that it's set up wrong, it just wasn't set up in the way that makes the most sense for them, since there are so many different ways to use that tool, and it's a very flexible platform. So that's probably where we start right at the beginning, is hearing, you really have to listen to them, and we really train our associates to not check boxes. So it is great to have a list of boxes to check for things you need to get done, but you also need to listen to what they're really asking for and what they're really saying. And if we need to pivot and the salesperson sold them something that actually doesn't really make sense for them, then let's not just check the boxes and deliver that because that's what was sold. Let's actually pivot and give them what's going to make them successful. So really empowering the associates to be able to raise their hands and make those decisions, and just make the right choices on behalf of the client to make sure that we're doing the right thing for them.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. That personalized experience is definitely the most important. As Mark said too, business is personal. Yes.
Maybe you should start on this first for a smaller company, and then I'll take this up for a larger company on this one.
Okay.
Great.
Quickly, deflect it to her.
Not reverse that at all. Yeah, I think that how many of you perceive yourself as having maybe a smaller business versus a larger? Yeah. Okay. So let's talk reality. If we have a small business, what does customer success really means for us, and what is realistic here? So I have a small business too. We're a boutique consulting firm. The way that we translate this to ourselves is by looking at 2 things. We started infusing processes that, believe me, I've done consulting for 20 years. This was not there before. So this is we're starting to infusing these processes in our own consulting firm because of customer success. So process number 1, onboarding. I totally agree. We try to be with as much integrity as possible around the right architecture so that we don't do something that's over complex, that doesn't match their business, because then they'll know it before you finish, and then where's the recurring business, where's the referrals, right? But customer success is really about beyond the onboarding, what happens then. So we started introducing processes that relates to meeting with the above the line decision makers, where we are actually giving, when we give them a status update as to where we are, we take advantage of that opportunity to also ask, what else is new with your business? What else is going on? Hey, what is your plan for the next quarter, for the next year? What are some of the challenges in your business? And then we open up additional opportunities to leverage Salesforce, to leverage other technologies so that we can create solutions for them that scale, that are optimized, and by that we continuously partner with them. We also started introducing what we call a workshop, and we give it for free. And so we meet with, depending on the, how much business they do with us, they might get a 2-hour session, half a day or a day, and we meet with them once a quarter for a full strategy discussion around the area of the business that they partner with us. So if I'm marketing, it's going to be marketing, it's customer success, obviously. We're going to talk about customer success strategies, and we're really looking into what else, what's top of mind, and let's look at other opportunities and things you haven't thought about yet. And then I think the final thing that we're doing is we look at, so that's on the customer outcomes. And the next round of things is really the customer experience. How easy is it to work with us? And so if before we used to do these massive projects and we had a large budget for project management, now we know customers actually, who of you actually had a consulting done for you and was really enthusiastic about paying 40% for project management costs? Nobody. So we really took a hard look at project management processes, and we thought about how can we scale that so it takes 15 minutes to create a project status for every week. So we started using Google Docs, we invited the consultants to contribute to it, and we made it super simple to everybody to update it. So we just looked at those opportunities in creating a solidified, short, slick customer experience, and we also introduced processes to have those discussions around business outcomes.
I think from
it's really interesting to know that aspect of it, because I really want everyone to hear that from your experiences. So that's great.
So I think the reason I had you start was because I think companies are at different phases and different journeys. I think for a lot of smaller companies, it's good that they have the opportunity to build a start from scratch. I think sometimes when you're in a larger company, you actually don't have that luxury. You have existing groups of professional services, solution engineers, customer support, and then there's a bigger question that sort of comes in as the revenue model starts to evolve to be more subscription-based, more renewal-based. You're like, oh, I actually have to focus this thing that's going to be more ongoing, and it's not just this like one and done sort of situation. Now, when that sort of stage comes in for a larger company, the challenge is a little bit different because there's already existing functions. So one of the things I always sort of encourage to say is there actually executive buy-in? Like, do the executives actually believe that this is something that they want to pivot around? Is customer the real true north, not the one that you write on paper and like hang everywhere, but it's actually the true north. And assuming it is, then you sort of start to really build the team. And I had to do that a lot in Google, but I actually pick from existing teams to actually craft that. And the net of this is, when you're a larger company, your portfolio is a little bit larger, you have larger different types of customers, so you have to really index on what is the service model you want to go after. You can't provide high-touch service to like all 1,000 customers. It's just like super hard and like not cost effective. So for us, we really want to focus on customers we really want to engage on, which is high-touch customers, super responsive, their business needs are that, and also they are spending with us a certain amount of money, right? Then there's the second level, which is more assist, which I would say is, give them the highest touch possible, but not dedicated. So just-in-time support. And then there's a whole bunch of customers where when they request services from us, we will do things, we will do periodic checks, but we try to automate as much as possible in that third layer. So that's the sort of the journey we try to pivot and go towards.
We do something similar to that as well. So, you can't, like you said, you can't give the same level of service to everyone as much as we would love to. So you do have to prioritize based on a number of factors, and we will assign dedicated resources for certain engagements and certain clients. And we even have some really unique engagements where some of our clients have direct support relationships with Salesforce in addition to having support engagements with us. So that can be really complicated because they could open a ticket directly, and then we might also open a ticket, but ours is through Partner Portal for Premier Success, and so we just have to make sure we coordinate together to make sure we're not, creating duplicate tickets, or that the client isn't playing us against each other either. So you can't be everything to everyone, but you can create different service models based on the different levels of engagement. So some of our clients have 24/7 support and round the globe support, and some of them, can open cases via email, and they could get any one of our customer support associates assigned to them, whereas the others that are larger have a dedicated team that knows their data setup, knows how their account's configured, has worked with them for years, knows them all by name. So you just have to kind of make your choices based on whatever factors make sense for your business.
I have a quick question. Does anybody here in the audience still thinks, am I too small to have a customer success program? No.
That's good.
It's a good start.
Yeah, I just want to move to the next question with what Kara just mentioned. It's really not the way we center our Partner Premier Success program is also in a way that our partners, our partners, whether they're high touch or whatever tier, they could leverage depending on their requirement. So I really want to hear from you. What is the role of PPS in driving customer success? Where does that fit? And also, just as a follow-up question I'm going to already ask, what was it like before PPS, and what made you choose this service?
It wasn't a very hard to sell. Frankly, when Salesforce keeps evolving what it's doing, and when it became available, it was pretty much a no-brainer. We needed the kind of speed of engagement in order to drive the service levels. We signed service level agreements with our customers and response levels and resolution fix levels with our customers, which makes an absolute necessity, especially for the type of customers we have. My guidance to people in the room setting this up is really get to know who your Premier Partner Success person is. Because in the same way that I said a minute ago, to develop the empathy with your customers, get to know them, in the same way they want to get to know us and understand our business, and the more they understand about our business and our world, the more empathetic they are. So, I find we have these fairly deep questions, why exactly do you need to, for example, have this feature in your mobile application? Because they can then go back and discuss that with the product team when we need to, if we were escalating something, they can actually mount the case by amplifying the value that our software provides to our customers back to the people who are at Salesforce that don't necessarily know our customers as well as we do, or us, and therefore they can make that case. So it's, in short, speed is number one. Number two, however, is the level of engagement, understanding, so that you're completely up to speed. You're not, you're not explaining things the first time. They actually can complete your sentence.
Yeah, so speed would be number one for us as well, which also made it not a hard sell for us. We need to solve these, whatever the requests are, as fast as possible. So that is really the primary driver. There could be a number of different factors, but we work with them also. I would say it's important because there might be something we don't have access to do today, so we have to call Partner Premier Success to work with them for enabling a rule in the platform, or configuring an item a certain way that we want configured. And if we're doing a lot of those repeatedly over time, then what we're doing is working with this team to say, this would be a capability that would be great for you to reduce your service time to us if you would enable us to be able to do this, or if you would expose the error logs to us then we can look up this error on our own. We don't have to contact you for that information. That saves them time, that saves us time. We can get the answer to the question, or the answer to the question to the customer. Again, speed as quickly as possible. So that really is our primary driver, I think.
Yeah, like that's great. Like we truly believe that partners are the one who push our platform. Like, we get their feedback. We try to we take the feedback back to product managers, as Mark just mentioned, when there is an issue like that. Because if our partner is impacted, it means hundreds of their customers are probably impacted too. So we really take it back to the product managers, and they really value the feedback that our partners share with us.
And we have a whole team of, much like the team that works at Salesforce, a whole team that answers support questions, where we have a lot of clients who are self-service, and they might call us as their first line of support rather than calling Salesforce directly. So our team has worked those cases already. By the time we call Partner Premier Success, it's a real issue. And they know that when we work with them then. They know that we've already gone through the same 7 questions that they would normally ask someone. And this is actually a legit problem. And I've heard them say that, where they'll say, we don't want DEG calls. That's a real problem. And, or maybe there was a new release that went out the night before, and our team might be first into the office, and we're already getting reports, or they're logging in and seeing the error notifications about a program that failed or something. And so they're calling, and we might be the first ones reporting the issue in to them that morning. And then they'll say, yep, we got 10 more calls about that right after we talked to you. So it's just having that level of access to talk directly to them, not have to justify your reason for calling, that you really have a legitimate question or case to solve, and it just gets you to your answer faster.
Yeah, that's great. I really want to talk about that, because we concentrate a lot on the release readiness, because that's when we do a major release, we do 3 releases per year, and then our partners start, if there are issues and they start reporting, then we know that. And as I said, DEG is always months. Most of the times they reach out to us the first, and they're like, okay, now there's a problem, let's go fix it. Yeah. So yeah, that's great. And because we're almost running out of time, I really want to hear from you quickly. What do you think when you hear about these partner programs that are centered to drive customer success? Because the placement of PPS for our partners is part of their customer success plan. How different is it for AppExchange partner versus a consulting partner? Because a consulting engagement sometimes could be 3 months, 6 months, 2 years. So what do you think about that?
Well, I'll let Duta maybe address the AppExchange, because that's more like software, and there is the big difference here is that consulting services, we don't necessarily have usage data. So we have to concentrate on non-usage, not necessarily adoption-related metrics. So we'll focus more on client satisfaction, client experience, those kind of things that I touched on before. And your metrics to say whether or not your customer success program is successful would be, do we have repeatable business with them? Have they given us a referral? Are they willing to give us testimonials on our website, or even verbal references for us? So those are the kind of things that to let you know that you've actually made success for you. So that's the non-monetized value for you, and the new projects for them is the monetized value for you specifically. And while they're customers, of course, you should have your own metrics as to what makes a great customer experience, so that your entire organization drives towards that. And then if there's those processes that drive that discussion for value-based conversations with the above-the-line resources, meaning the executives at your client site, then how many times were those conversations made? Is your team driven and compensated for making those conversations? My consultants specifically, they get 3 metrics. One of them is, did you get an expansion on the account? Did we drive more solutions for them? Did we get it? How many testimonials did you get based on how many projects they're assigned to? All these things, they're very, very specific to the behavior that I want to drive in the organization. And I think those are definitely something that if you have a consulting firm, something that you can implement to initiate a customer success program for you and know that it works.
I'd like to actually build on some of the stuff that you guys have said already. I think at the baseline, a lot of this is around responsiveness to live issues that happen. I mean, at the end of the day, if you think about any customer journey, just like humans have needs of food, shelter, if you're a customer, there's an issue, you just want it solved, right? That's the baseline. I think the next line of this is sort of a little bit more evolved, which is you can look at usage data, you can look at adoption data, and one of the things I always say is it's important to understand, is the product implemented correctly? Now, there will be different metrics, how you measure them, but that's like the basic question. And the third question that I sort of always sort of go after, and after this is, okay, I know I'm using it, what are my new opportunities? Which is really around insights. And assuming like all those three things are happening in tandem, that like yields in the best relationship, a trusted advisor relationship. So I think a lot of it when it comes to technology partnerships is really on the second and the third one. My point I talked about is how do you figure out what are the right product adoption metrics and what are the improvement points you can actually suggest and add value that people are not seeing it on their own.
That's amazing, guys.